All right, now we have solving multi-step equations, which by the label you see that we're going to have to do a little more than just one step. These are typically 2 or 3-step problems, depending. So what you want to do is isolate the variable term first. And there's also parentheses. You may need to distribute or combine like terms first. We'll get into that in the next slide. Okay, but for these first ones, we want to look at what the variable term is. Okay, there's your variable term, that's 5x. So now we know we need to get rid of a minus 3, or a plus 3, so we do that by minusing 3. You subtract 3 from both sides. Now you get 20 equals 5x, and now you can use opposite operation to get the variable by itself. 5 times x, so opposite is to divide. Divide both sides by 5. 5's cancel, you get x equals 4. Okay, again, you want to check it. Plug that back in. 5 times 4 plus 3. 20 plus 3 is 23, so that checks. Okay, the second example, here's your variable term. Notice how I include that sign in it. Okay, you want to make sure you do that. So we want to get rid of a 5. That's a positive 5 because there's nothing in front of it. So minus 5 from both sides. 5 minus 5 is 0. So x divided by 4. 1 minus 5 is negative 4. X divided by 4, opposite of dividing is to multiply by 4. So you have x. Negative 4 times 4 is negative 16. Okay, and then plug that in. You have 5 plus negative 16 divided by 4. Negative 16 divided by 4 is negative 4. 5 minus 4 is 1, so that checks. In the next one, you have negative 4v. That's our variable term. So the first thing, get rid of 18. 18 is positive, so we minus the 18. Negative 4v we have left equals 42 minus 18 is 24. Now that's negative 4 times v. Opposite of multiplying is to divide, so divide both sides by negative 4. You get v equals negative 6. Okay, so you have that. 18 minus 4 times negative 6. Negative 4 times negative 6 is plus 24. 18 plus 24 is 42. In this one, 3/4 times q, so that is your variable term. So that's minus 7, so now add 7 to both sides. 8 plus 7 is 15. You have 3/4 q. This is the one that you can say, okay, I have a denominator, so multiply both sides by 4. You do that, and then divide it by 3, or you can say, okay, dividing by a fraction means multiplying both sides by the reciprocal. So you can multiply both sides by the reciprocal. The 3's cancel and the 4's cancel, right? 4/3 times 3/4 is just 1. So you get q, and here 3 goes into 15 5 times. 5 times 4 is 20. So there's your answer there. Now if you check that, 3/4 times 20, 4 goes into 25 times. 5 times 3 is 15. Minus the 7 is 8, so that checks. Alright, so there are 4 examples. I'm going to go to the next page and do some more, and then it'll be your practice time. Alright, so in this example right here, negative h divided by 3, that's your variable term. So we want to get rid of minus 4. Opposite of minus 4 is plus 4. Add that to both sides. 13 plus 4 is 17. So you have negative h divided by 3 equals 17. Here you have divided by 3, so you can multiply by 3 to get rid of that. So you still have a negative h. 17 times 3 is 51. Now it's a negative h. Remember, that's the same thing as a negative 1h. So in order to get rid of a negative 1, divide by a negative 1. That gets rid of the negative, so then you have a positive h equals negative 51. And that is your answer. So when you plug that in, you have negative 51 divided by 3. A negative cancel. 51 divided by 3 is 17. And then 17 minus 4 is 13, so that checks. Alright, this next one, 3k minus 7 all divided by 5. Because that's all divided by 5, that's like saying right there is your variable term, 3k minus 7. You look at that first. all of that divided by 5, which means in order to get rid of it, you multiply both sides by 5. Okay, so now you have 3k minus 7 equals 16 times 5 is 80. Then here's your variable term again. Add the 7. So 3k equals 87, and divide by 3, k equals 29. Okay, and then just plug that in. 29 times 3 is 87, minus 7 is 80, divided by 5 is 16, so that checks. On this problem right here, you have 2n plus 3n. The first thing you want to do is combine those terms. 2n plus 3n, they are like terms, so you can combine them and get 5n plus 7 equals negative 41. Then we take the same steps we have been taking. This is 5n, so you have plus 7, so the opposite is minus 7. So you have 5n equals negative 41 minus 7 is negative 48. And then divide by 5, so n equals, let's say, negative 9 3/5, or you can just leave it as negative 48 over 5. That's perfectly fine to leave it like that. In fact, it is easier to leave that like that for when you go back to check it. So negative 48 over 5 is that. Okay, so you have 2n plus 3n, that's 5n. So if you check, you can check in the 5n, just makes it a little easier. Negative 48 divided by 5 times 5, those 5 cancel. So you have negative 48 plus 7 is indeed negative 41. So that checks. And this last example right here, we are going to have to distribute. But one thing you want to keep in mind, because this is multiply, and remember, this is going to be adding and subtracting. So order of operations says you have to multiply first. Okay, so we're going to multiply by a negative 3. Negative 3 times 2k is negative 6k, and negative 3 times 4 is negative 12. So now you have this. We can combine like terms on the left. Negative 6 minus 12 is negative 18, minus 6k equals, whoops, positive 18. Here's your variable term. So you want to get rid of the negative 18, so add 18 to both sides. Negative 6k equals 36. Divide by negative 6, giving you negative 6 for your answer. So k equals negative 6. When you plug that in, I'm going to start right here. 2 times negative 6 is negative 12, plus 4 is negative 8, and negative 6, then times negative 3, so that's a plus 24, and negative 6 plus 24 is 18, so that checks. Alright, so those are some examples. The next thing we're looking at, though, is some word problems. These word problems, you have to set up your equations and then solve. So find 2 consecutive integers. Alright, 2 consecutive integers, that's like saying x and x plus 1. Okay, consecutive meaning one right after another. 2 and 3, 10 and 11, 17 and 18. Okay, they're one right after another. So you can use that as x and x plus 1. The sum, so if you add them, x plus 1 is 2x plus 1 is, so that's your equals 19. From there, you just solve. Here's your variable term, so minus the 1. You have 2x equals 18, and then divide by 2, x equals 9. So the 2 consecutive integers are x and x plus 1, well 9 plus 1 is 10. So 9 and 10. Alright, 3 consecutive even integers. Alright, so when they're even, that would be like 2, 4, and 6, or 22, 24, and 26, or 26, 28, and 30. Okay, those are even integers. So be x, x plus 2, and x plus 4, because they are 2 apart. Now, note that if it is odd integers, if it's 3 consecutive odd integers, it is still this exact same thing. Because odd integers like 1, 3, 5, those are still 2 apart each time. Okay, so that would be the same thing. Now the sum, means to add. X plus x plus x is 3x. 2 plus 4 is 6, so 3x plus 6 is 132, so equals 132. There's your variable term, so minus the 6. You get 3x equals 126, and then divide by 3, x equals 42. So the three even integers, you have 42, and then x plus 2, 42 plus 2 is 44, and x plus 4, 42 plus 4 is 46. So there are your three consecutive even. All right, coin collecting. Jung has a total of 92 coins in his coin collection. This is 8 more, so 8 more than 3 times the number of quarters. So the total is 8 more than 3 times the number of quarters. So if x equals the number of quarters, okay, we have 8 more than 3 times the number of quarters. So 3 times the number of quarters plus 8 would be the same as 92. Once you have your equation, now it's just solving. Here's your 3x. So minus 8. 92 minus 8 is 84. And then divide by 3. So x equals 28. So that would be, x is the number of quarters, so he has 28 quarters. Okay, so that is it. You have some equations to try. Go ahead and try those. We'll go over in the next class. And that's it.